Hello friends, in this lecture I am going to tell you about partitions in Hive. There are two types of partition, static and dynamic. Static, we mentioned value on which partition will be done, and dynamic, we mentioned column name and whatever values present in that column, partition will be created on all those values. You can go to this link and there are a lot of Hive properties which will help you how to improve your performance of the query. We'll cover this later, but for reference, you can keep it. So, what is actually the partition in Hive? We can create a table and then we can mention, okay, do partition on this column. So, suppose I have a table contains sales from all over the state of USA. Now, I want to query data only belongs to few state. So my Hive query will scan complete table and give me filtered data based on my where clause. Uh, Instead of that, what we can do, create table, then we can mention column, partition by, we can mention column here on which I want to do partition, and then the rest same like row format delimited, stored as parquet or orc. So what happens inside my database, a sales table will get created, and when I load data based on values in that particular column, every folder will get created. So if I have 5 unique values in state, 5 folders will get created and one for the default. So if I have null values, a default folder will get created. So whatever rows in my data belongs to state equal to nj will go into this, rest for AR into this CA NY. So in this way, my big file, or when I'm loading my large data sets into Hive, it gets divided into the partitions, and when I run select query like this, it return the results very fast because it's not going to scan complete table. It will just go directly to those folders and return me the data. So that's what we achieve from partition. There are two type of partition, as I said, static and dynamic. This is an example of dynamic one because I'm not mentioning any value here. I'm just mentioning the column name on which partition need to be done. Let's do the practical. There are a few properties that we need to set while using partition in Hive. Setting non-strict mode so that we can create a table with dynamic partition. Also setting dynamic partition to true. Maximum number of partitions allowed. In cluster mode, when table gets saved, per node we can save, okay, how many maximum partitions can be created per node. And also we can change the name of default partition as per our requirement. Let's run this because I am not running in cluster mode. I will use this too. Now first of all, I will show you demo about dynamic partition. In dynamic, the create statement is simple. Create table name, your columns, then partition by clause, and single or multiple column on which you want to apply partition. Now here is a catch. In interview or in your real lifetime projects, just make sure that you are maintaining sequence based on cardinality. More more common values column will come first and then as high cardinality columns, so that your folders will get created in a tree pattern. Let's create the table. Okay, we have created table. It's empty now. Let's load data. Now let's load data into our partition table. The query structure to write or insert data into partition table is insert optional override table name. Then you have to mention here partition and here the list of columns on which you have applied in the create statement. So insert override table emp in part 2 and then let's start from emp underscore text. If we see right now in our HDFS location, it will start creating here folders. Let's wait so that it complete the job. Okay, if you see here, it is saying loaded 29 partitions. First see what we have in data structure. So we have kept manager first and then department. So if you see first level or all folders with manager ID equals to their unique values, and inside that corresponding department ID. So if any row exists for manager ID 100 having department IDs 10, the folder will come. If not, then it will skip here. So all records having manager ID 100 and department ID 20 will be saved in this file. So easy, right? And where my manager ID is null, this folder has created by default. And where my manager ID as well as department ID is null, this folder is created. So all records here having manager ID as well as department ID null. So you got understanding of how it's creating the folder structure. Let's do run query on this partition table. To see how many partitions are there in this table, run show partitions emp underscore part 2. It will give list of all combination partitions exist in this table. Almost 29 partitions. Now, so I'll show you how to see the difference. We can use explain command which will tell you about whatever query you are going to run. Some logical plan will be get created. That logical plan will be get optimized and finally a physical plan will get created. If I run, so let's start from a non-partition table where manager ID equal to 148. What I will do, I will filter records after scanning complete table with this value. Okay, let's filter first read complete table and then filter with manager ID equal to 148. So if you see a table scanned completely and then the filter is applied. So inside table it has picked all rows and then the filter is applied. Now if we use same but on our partition table, when table scan happen, it's returned directly that folder where manager ID equal to 148. There is no need to apply any predicate filter on complete data because it will return complete data which belongs to folder manager ID equal to 148. That's what the partitioning is. This was an example of dynamic partition. Let's go for static partition. In static partition, the create statement is same, but when we insert data, it gets difference. So now, while loading data, we'll use load data in path, location of our data, and then we will mention value because it's not dynamic. So we have to mention for which particular partition value we want to load this data. I want to put all this data for department ID 50. To show you first file which I am loading, so I am loading this file dfs-ls emp part 2 where manager ID equal to 100 and department ID equal to 20. This is my file. Let me show you records also, where manager square equals to 100 and department square equals to 20. Okay, we have only one record of Michael. Let's run here. Select start from empty underscore main static. Now here, if you see, the department ID has changed from 20 to 50. Why? Because I have loaded that particular data with value department ID equal to 50. So it doesn't matter whether what actual value you have in your data. Wherever you load, it will create that partition in the table. Let's see same on the HDFS path. So here is our table, emp underscore static p. Here is department square ID 50, and here is our record. So that was static and dynamic partition. I hope you have got the clear picture. In next lecture, I'm going to tell you about bucketing. Till that, practice, because partitioning is a very important concept. And please post if any of your query, if you are facing any issue, whatever practical we are doing, just post, just send me a message or post comment. I'll reply as soon as possible. Thank you.